What if I told you that somewhere in the shadows of history lies a book that defied every law of nature we know? A book that didn't just contain words written in blood, but actually drew that blood from its readers while they held it. Today, we're diving into one of the most disturbing and forgotten tales from 1830s Prague, where a mysterious manuscript turned reading into a literal blood sport. The locals called it Neha Krov, the Blood Book. And before you dismiss this as medieval superstition, consider this: over 40 documented cases of unexplained blood loss, 17 mysterious deaths, and one book that vanished without a trace, leaving behind only testimonies so horrifying that the Catholic Church sealed the records for 2 centuries. In 1834, Prague was a city caught between the old world and the new. Gas lamps were replacing candles, but ancient superstitions still ruled the narrow cobblestone streets. It was here that Vaclav Zerna, a respected antiquarian bookseller, acquired what he believed would be the crown jewel of his collection. The book arrived on a rain-soaked Tuesday evening, delivered by a hooded figure who spoke only in whispers. Vaclav later described the stranger as having hands that seemed to absorb light itself, pale to the point of translucency, with veins so dark they appeared black beneath the skin. The man claimed the book was a 14th century illuminated manuscript containing lost alchemical secrets. He demanded only 50 gulden for it, suspiciously cheap for such a supposedly valuable artifact. But this wasn't just any book. The moment Vaclav touched its leather binding, he felt what he described as a gentle tugging sensation, as if the book was trying to draw something from within me. The cover was bound in what appeared to be human skin, not uncommon for medieval texts, but this skin had an unusual quality. It was warm to the touch and seemed to pulse with a rhythm eerily similar to a human heartbeat. The text inside was written in Latin, but the ink had a peculiar quality that made Vaclav's vision blur. Whenever he tried to focus on specific passages, what he could make out were diagrams of the human circulatory system, detailed beyond anything that should have existed in medieval times, and formulas that seemed to describe methods of preserving and transferring human blood. Vaclav's first customer was Helena Svoboda, a wealthy widow known for her extensive library and scholarly pursuits. She spent 3 hours in Vaclav's shop, completely absorbed in the mysterious tome. When she finally looked up, her face was pale as morning mist, and thin rivulets of blood were trickling from beneath her fingernails. Where they had touched the pages, Helena was convinced she had simply scratched herself without noticing, but that night, she experienced something that would haunt her for the remainder of her short life. She dreamed of words forming on blank pages, written in fresh blood, that she somehow knew was her own. In the dream, she was compelled to press her hands against the book's pages, and she watched as her blood was absorbed into the parchment, where it transformed into elegant script telling stories of her own life stories she had never shared with another soul. When Helena returned to the bookshop the next day, Vaclav noticed something alarming. Her hands bore no visible wounds, yet she appeared to have lost a considerable amount of blood. Her skin had taken on a waxy pallor, and dark circles shadowed her eyes. But Helena was obsessed. She purchased the book for 200 gulden, 4 times what Vaclav had paid for it, and took it home that very afternoon. Over the following weeks, Helena became a regular sight in Prague's medical district, consulting doctor after doctor about her mysterious condition. She was losing blood, they confirmed, but there were no wounds, no internal bleeding, no explanation that medical science could provide. The only clue was that her blood loss seemed to accelerate whenever she spent time reading her precious acquisition. Dr. František Novak, Prague's most respected physician, documented Helena's case in meticulous detail. According to his notes, Helena lost approximately half a pint of blood every time she opened the book. Her hemoglobin levels would drop dramatically. Yet within hours of closing the book, her blood count would mysteriously begin to normalize, though never quite returning to healthy levels. But the most disturbing discovery came when Dr. Novak examined the book itself. He found that certain pages, which Helena swore had been blank when she first acquired it, now contained detailed medical observations written in what appeared to be human blood. These observations described Helena's own condition with impossible accuracy, including private details about her health history that she had never shared with anyone. Helena died on a cold February morning, found in her library chair with the book open in her lap. The cause of death was recorded as severe anemia, but Dr. Novak noted something that chilled him to the bone. The book's pages had increased in number. What had originally been a manuscript of 87 pages now contained over 120, and the additional pages told the complete story of Helena Svoboda's life, written in what forensic analyses later confirmed to be her own blood. After Helena's death, the book passed through 17 different owners over the course of 6 months. Each experienced the same phenomenon: mysterious blood loss, the appearance of new pages containing their personal histories, and ultimately, death from what appeared to be voluntary exsanguination. The case that finally drew the attention of both church and state authorities involved twin brothers, Pavel and Tomak Krayi, who inherited the book from their uncle's estate. The brothers were scholars who approached the mysterious manuscript with scientific skepticism. They decided to conduct controlled experiments, taking turns reading the book while the other observed and documented the results. Their research journal, discovered after their deaths, contains some of the most disturbing accounts in this entire tale. They confirmed that the book did indeed draw blood from its readers through some unknown mechanism. More horrifying, they discovered that the book seemed to possess a form of consciousness. It would reveal different content to different readers, always perfectly tailored to their deepest fears and most shameful secrets. Pavel wrote, "The book knows things about me that I have never told another living soul. It describes childhood memories I had forgotten, dreams I experienced decades ago, and thoughts I have never spoken aloud. When I read these passages, I feel the blood leaving my body, not painfully, but with a strange sense of relief, as if I am finally unburdening myself of secrets too heavy to carry." The brothers lasted longer than previous owners because they rationed their exposure to the book, but their willpower eventually crumbled. Their final journal entries describe an irresistible compulsion to read, despite knowing each session brought them closer to death. They died on the same night, found sitting across from each other with the book open between them. Their bodies showed no signs of violence, yet they had lost nearly 70% of their blood. By this time, the mysterious deaths had attracted the attention of Cardinal Antonin Brus, Prague's highest religious authority. He ordered the book to be brought to St. Vitus Cathedral for examination by church scholars specializing in supernatural phenomena. What they discovered defied all explanation. Under examination by candlelight, the book's pages revealed text that was invisible under normal illumination. This hidden text, written in a mixture of Latin and an unknown language, described rituals for transferring life essence from one being to another. The scholars concluded that the book was not merely recording the blood of its readers, it was collecting their life force, their memories, their very souls. Father Augustin Mendel, the church's lead investigator, made a discovery that would seal the book's fate. Hidden within the binding, pressed between layers of human skin, were dozens of thin metal plates inscribed with names and dates. Each name corresponded to a documented owner of the book, and the dates matched their deaths. But the plates contained names and dates stretching back over 5 centuries, suggesting the book had been claiming victims far longer than anyone had realized. The final plate bore 2 names that made Father Mendel's blood run cold: his own name and the date of the current day. Rather than succumb to the book's influence, Father Mendel ordered it to be sealed in a lead-lined chest and buried in the deepest vaults beneath Prague Castle. The location was known only to the cardinal himself, and all records of the burial were sealed in Vatican archives with instructions that they never be opened. But the story doesn't end there. In 1892, nearly 60 years later, construction workers renovating the castle's foundations discovered a lead chest buried beneath tons of rubble. Inside was a book, perfectly preserved, with fresh blood still wet on its pages. The pages now numbered over 400, filled with the life stories of everyone who had ever touched it, written in their own blood. The workers who made this discovery all died within a week of mysterious blood loss. The book vanished again, and its current location remains unknown. The Blood Book of Prague represents one of history's most disturbing mysteries. Was it an elaborate hoax orchestrated by someone with deep knowledge of human psychology and medieval mysticism, a creation of early bioalchemy that we still don't understand? Or something far more sinister, a genuine supernatural artifact that feeds on human life? The truth is, we may never know. The official records remain sealed, the witnesses are long dead, and the book itself continues to elude discovery. But perhaps that's for the best. Some knowledge is too dangerous to possess. Some books, too deadly to read. If you ever encounter an ancient manuscript that feels warm to the touch, that seems to know your secrets before you've shared them. That makes your blood sing with strange recognition. Remember the fate of Helena Svoboda and the Krige brothers. Some stories are meant to remain unread, some chapters never meant to be written. What do you think? Could such a thing really exist? Or is this simply the product of medieval superstition and mass hysteria? Let me know in the comments below. And remember, some mysteries are better left unsolved. Until next time, keep questioning everything, but be careful what answers you seek.